Welcome to the Elite BSC podcast, where our entire focus is helping commercial janitorial contractors succeed. You want a growing company, a thriving team, and healthy profits, and we are here to help. My name is Jordan Tong. I'm the founder of Elite BSC, a company dedicated to helping janitorial companies grow and thrive. I also serve as CEO and one of the owners of France Building Services. France is a janitorial company employing nearly 600 people. Since 2007, we grew from 1.5 million to more than 20 million in annual revenue and built what I think is one of the best teams in the world. The goal of Elite BSC and this podcast is to give owners in the industry a vision of where their company can be and the information and tools to get there. I want to share what I have learned over the years to make this a reality for you. Hey, cleaning contractors, it's Jordan Tong here with Elite BSC. So, hey, I appreciate everybody that has continued to listen to this podcast, and for those of you that have subscribed to the podcast, my goal and the goal of Elite BSC is to help small businesses in the commercial cleaning industry to be successful and be a voice for you and to help you and to be along beside you. I'm one of the owners of a janitorial company that will do north of 20 million this year, and so this is sort of my platform to be able to the things we learn and do well at our company, as well as the things that we screw up at and do a poor job. I want to share those things with the Elite BSC tribe to help you be able to maybe make some of the, or not make some of the bad decisions that we've made, learn from some of our mistakes, and maybe help point you guys in a direction that could help you grow and thrive and succeed. So that is what we're about. So today on this particular episode, I'm going to talk about 5 reasons you aren't selling more jobs. And I have a follow-up that I'll probably do. Might do it next week on 5 more reasons. But I think 5 is a good starting point here. And these aren't really in any particular order, but I think they're, if you're not selling like you want to and hitting the kinds of numbers you would like to, I suspect one of these 5 things are probably a weakness for you, probably more than one of them. And they certainly have been for us along the way. So, and just so you know, a little bit of background. So I did a lot of sales for our company early on, and then I've had some salespeople work for me in the business. And then in the last 2 years or so, we have at Elite BSC started doing marketing work for other janitorial companies. So helping them build lists and writing content for them, managing email campaigns. We're actually about to launch a piece where we start doing some cold calling to gather information and that sort of thing. And so I have a decent amount of familiarity with sort of the lay of the land here as it relates to sales in our industry. And so these things are sort of born out of that experience a little bit. So number 1 is waiting for the phone to ring. So we call this the first reason, or the first mistake that you're potentially making, is waiting for the phone to ring. I can't tell you how many contractors that I talk to in the industry that this is kind of their philosophy. Now, they don't. It's not like spoken, like, hey, how do you do sales? Oh, I just wait for the phone to ring. But in reality, what happens is other things take precedent, and they're busy doing other aspects and jobs in the company that sales gets put on the back burner. And the method of growth is waiting for the phone to ring. And maybe there's been a time in the past where it's worked well. Maybe you've had a good referral base in the past, and that has worked well. But I don't think that will ever be sufficient enough for you to grow if you have any sort of goals in terms of being, moderately aggressive in your growing. So I think we have to take a more proactive approach. So waiting for the phones to ring, or waiting for someone to email you, or waiting for someone to fill out the contact form on your website. I think that the kinds of clients that you want to get, the larger clients, the clients maybe that are a little bit harder to get, they're not going to come, they're not going to swim up to the boat. That might happen from time to time, and it has for us. But as a general rule for myself and others, when we get large accounts, good accounts, the kinds of stuff we want, we have to go go earn it. We have to go find it. We have to go sell it. We have to make it happen. It typically doesn't come to us. So that would be number one. Number two is chasing too many marketing channels. So there's this temptation when we're not, marketing experts and we want to grow, is we're willing to throw money at a lot of different things. So again, I've talked to a lot of people that are wanting to grow that have spent money, doing SEO, having content written for them, having their websites redone, running Google ads, paying marketing companies to, make calls for them to try to generate leads and appointments. I've heard of people doing radio ads, which feels a bit archaic now at this point. And a host of other things that people are trying to do to gain new customers, to be heard or seen by prospective customers. And I think we often, and we're all guilty of this on some level, we want to find a silver bullet. We want to find the thing that we can dump some money into that's easy, that's going to have some ROI with it. And I'm willing to be proven wrong, and I'm willing for someone to push back and say, Jordan, I think you're wrong about this. So I do think SEO is important. I do think that can be helpful when somebody is looking to bid. One of the first things you're going to do is do a quick online search. But I think other things are certainly more important and will generate more results and more predictable success. So in my mind, I think, and we talk about this when we lay out our sales process. We've done this in our workshops in the past when we've hosted live workshops and talked about the sales process. The very first thing that you have to do is go out and find the prospects you want to do business with. So and what we would say is we take a rifle approach to sales and not a shotgun approach. So the amount of clients that we actually want to do business with is finite. It's pretty limited. And, it's not like we're detailing cars, and so everyone that has a car is a potential customer of ours. No, that's not the case. Not every building is a potential customer. Not every business is a potential customer for us. It's only certain size buildings that are in certain market segments that really are good customers for us. And so in keeping with taking a rifle approach is we want to go find out who those are, and we want to target them specifically. And when I mean target, this has been our approach in the past, is that we send them content. So we find out decision maker names and email addresses, and we regularly but not pesteringly send them value-added content with the idea of being top of mind when they decide to bid out. And then we make cold calls. So we're actually calling these places, verifying that we have the right decision maker, that we have their contact information, and we find out when they're going to bid and what's it take to get on the bid list. When should we call back if they don't know? Those sorts of questions are the things that we're trying to get answered in that phase. And it's just flat out persistence and sort of grinding away on the basics. It's not sexy. It's not glamorous. So that would be the second thing. This is something I see that's very common. Number three, the third mistake I think that people make is going after the wrong things. So typically, and this is true in life, in a lot of areas of life, it seems to be a particular truth about reality, that we can often get distracted with going after things that feel like small wins, quick wins for us that really don't help us in the long run, and they distract us from the things that we need to be focusing on. And so, and this, this can happen. So I'll give you a little funny story about this. So I have a brother-in-law who was on a text message thread with myself and another guy, and he was going on about this like oxygenated water bottle thing that's supposed to help improve health and that sort of thing. And the other friend on the text thread said, "Hey, I think there's a lot more low-hanging fruit you could go after." And the idea is that, something sort of shiny and, this is going to make me be healthy. All of a sudden, I'm going to start drinking from this bottle. It distracted from the overall long-term health goals. And so I think we can do that. We can chase after small jobs, one-time jobs, things that don't really put us in a position to be where we want to be down the road. And that distraction, I think, will slow us down ultimately. It feels like we're making some steps forward, but in reality, it's not the kinds of steps forward that we need. It's not the kinds of jobs that we really want that are going to help lay a foundation for our organization. Okay, that was number 3. Number 4 is, the fourth mistake is just being willing to take anything. So, we want to have some level of specificity or let's say criteria for the kinds of customers that we are willing to take. And so just anyone that's willing to pay us money is not necessarily, that's not the only criteria that it takes for them to become a customer of ours. And so, when people are going after, when I talk to someone and I ask them, what kinds of jobs do you want? What kinds of stuff will you take? What is your criteria? And I get basically, we'll take anything. I know that company is very likely going to be stuck in the really small phase, like where they're not going to grow. And I think, part of the reason for this is that when you'll take anything, your attention gets drawn to those things that are not going to get you long term where you want to go. And so you start spending more and more time on the things that aren't going to get you where you want to go ultimately, and you have less and less time for those important activities that are going to move the needle in the long run for the organization. And so I think that certainly is a mistake that I think a lot of us have made. We certainly made that mistake early on in trying to go after too much stuff, being willing to go after too much stuff, and being willing to, if someone says, hey, we have a job, sure, we'll do it, did not really ultimately serve our company well. It's when we focused in on, no, here's what we want, and here's the only kinds of things we're going to take. It is at that point that our company began to grow and thrive. So lastly, number 5, and again, I'll probably, next week, hopefully, or in the next couple weeks, I'll have a follow-up 5 to this list. But number 5 is not having a niche. So there's a phrase in the internet marketing world that goes something like this: that the riches are in the niches. And the idea is that if you specialize as a company, like, here is who we're going after, here is our target audience, and here's why we think that should be our target audience, and here's why they're a good fit for us, and really defining who that audience is will make you more successful. You look at companies that are successful, they do have a niche, like they do have a target audience. And this is sort of this is maybe the other side of the coin to the we'll take anything thing, is that if you have a niche, you won't just take anything. And so by niche, what I don't mean is, this doesn't mean like, hey, we only do multi-story office buildings. That niche doesn't necessarily make sense in our industry. But there have been some great companies that have been built in our industry around just serving churches and religious institutions, or just hospitals and other medical facilities. Now, that's not our approach. There have been some companies that do that. Retail is another one where I've seen some big companies grow strictly doing that sort of retail, public venue kind of stuff. But that's not necessarily our niche. But we do have a niche at our company, and there's a bit of it that's geographically related. There's a bit of it that's the type of customer and the size of customer we're willing to go after. But having a niche allows you to define what you're going to say yes to, and also, and perhaps more importantly, define what you're going to say no to. And in eliminating the things you're going to say no to, it's going to really clarify and pare down what you can say yes to and what you can chase, which will hone your efforts all in the direction of the kinds of things that you want, which will generate better results in the long run, for sure. So that is just a brief look at some of the things that may be hurting your sales process. And the next episode, hopefully we're going to talk about 5 more that I think are maybe build upon this. And my hope is at the end of this that some of these tips or learning about some of these mistakes may help put you in a position to be able to sell more and sell better accounts, and your company be on a more profitable and sustainable growth path going forward. So if you have any questions ever, you can always reach out to me, Jordan at elitebsc.com. There's tons of resources on our website, elitebsc.com. If you're not a member of our mastermind group, we would love to have you join us. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. I share tons of resources on there, and it's like the podcast times 10 in terms of the amount of content that's available. So encourage you to check that out, and we'll see you next time. If you found the information in this podcast helpful, please like and subscribe on whatever podcast platform that you're using. If you would like more resources or help to grow your cleaning company, head over to elitebsc.com. We have loads of articles, videos, free tools, coaching options, and a lot more. If your company is greater than $500K in revenue and you want to take your learning experience to the next level, check out our mastermind group. You can learn more about that at elitebsc.com/mastermind.